This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, highlighting all of Section 3, interviewing the greatest local coaches and athletes. Brought to you by SummitCars.com, broadcasting in the ESPN studios. Here's your host, Mike Bristol, and Eagle Newspapers' Phil Blackwell.
All right, here we are back on it. And another great week of a little bit of high school sports action, but it's all rolling here. Phil, what's going on, pal?
Yeah, I mean, we're actually in winter sports, and it looks like winter sports outside. We got all the snow we usually get in January, and we get it every single day. It's like, all right, we're in the middle of the season, except by the middle of the season, or at the start of the season, or late in the season. We've lost all track of time in the last 11 months, so it may only be a sense that late February feels like mid-January, and the action feels like mid-January as well. I know, I complicated things way too much there.
All right, well, let's talk about who's going to be on the show, as Phil just summed up. I'm not sure what. Or SummitCars.com spotlight interview with Fayetteville-Manlius boys basketball coach Luke Tucci will be joining us. And if all goes well for FM boys basketball, their team there, it'll be a busy, as pretty much anyone else who returned to the court, obviously, this winter. The Hornets, the initial schedule called for 14 games in a span of 30 days. Subject to all the whims of weather and hopefully avoiding any COVID disruptions, obviously. Through the 3 games, FM's 2-1, having one at Henniger and Baldwinsville, and takes on Corcoran this afternoon. So before that, we're going to talk to Luke Tucci along with senior captains Josh Mitchell, Jake Nucerino, and Paul Miller will also be here with us on the program.
Yeah, Tucci took over the program from Tom Blackford a couple of years ago, and the FM program was, he's a young coach, one of the youngest guys in the Class AA ranks, and I think he has this program really going in a good direction right now. I mean, this is a group that had a lot of players returning from last season. I think they were very curious about how they do if they have a full season, how they would have stacked up, given the fact that a lot of other Class AA teams had to replace a lot of important talent. They could have moved up the ranks, but even so, by playing 14 games, they're showing how eager they are to have a season. I mean, that's 2/3 of a season. Usually you play 20 games. So credit FM for wanting to have a lot of games and giving their team something close to a regular season experience that they would have had in a normal winter.
Well, after we talk to the FM boys, Phil and I, or I guess I'll be chatting for our Nagel Athletic Services interview with Bishop Ludden girls basketball players Caitlin Kilbling, Lauren Petrie, Amara Strife, and Kira O'Doon. And no matter what else happens the rest of the season, it's already been a satisfying win for the Bishop Ludden girls basketball team, and for a number of different reasons. Just having a season was special enough, but already the Gaelic Knights have knocked off 3 main rivals in West Hill, Bishop Grimes, and CBA, while its star sophomore passed 1,000 career points and a senior made her college plans official. So we're going to talk some Bishop Ludden girls basketball. Amara Strife, Caitlin Kilbling, Lauren Petrie, and Kiara O'Doon all be on the program.
You can argue that Ludden's been as impressive as any team so far this season, given the opponents that they've defeated and the fact that they had a lot of talent back from last season, and they were poised to make the kind of championship run that they made when Daniel Rauch was there and they won a couple of sectional championships. They had the sort of vibe going this season as well, mixing the experience of players like Kibling and Petrie, who's on the St. John Fisher, and Strife, who's 1,000 points, and she's only a sophomore. And there's no telling how much she could do by the end of her high school career. And the thing about her is she wants to be an orthopedic surgeon. This is a sophomore who already really wants to know what she wants to do with her life and fascinated by the human body and how it recovers from things. And it's a remarkable team.
All right, well, let's get rolling here, Phil. You can check out Phil Blackwell's Top 10 as he produces that each and every week at InsideHighSchoolSports.com. He also does the weekly awards. You can check those out as well. So let's go to the first thing Phil pointed out. Having reached the second week of boys and girls basketball, we can draw some early conclusions. Among the area large school boys teams, it's Liverpool and West Genesee that have raced out to strong starts, which may have been expected given the recent state championship efforts. Though different players are there now, obviously. But seeing FM handle Henniger and Baldwinsville out of the gate shows how much the Hornets have improved. Also, they've got 13 games scheduled. Meanwhile, each of last year's sectional Class AA finalists in Baldwinsville and Corcoran struggled a bit here, finding difficult to replace, obviously, some departed star talent, and neither side with a victory in any of their early games. So some interesting changes here in boys basketball, Phil.
I wanted to mention that Baldwinsville did get a win over Nottingham this week to get on the win column, but still a lot of struggles for them. Looking at those teams in the SCAC Metro, West Genesee has kept the pace, even with the departure of Willamika. They've won every game so far. The Wildcats are playing again today, and they've now given the life of Adam Dazinski and Jack Delgetti, who have had fantastic starts for the Wildcats. And as for Liverpool, Ryan Blackwell's team is 4-0 already this season. Won a thrilling game yesterday, 74-71 over CNF, a team much improved in their first season under their coach, Kyle Martin. But Liverpool, they're getting fantastic performances from the likes of Jacob Works and Ash and players like that. And Liverpool, very solid team this season so far. 4 impressive victories for the Warriors.
Very nice. Continuing on here in boys basketball, I want to talk about, and as Phil points out here in his number 2 of the top 10, 2 of their defending sectional champions have really roared out of the gate. CBA swept past Syracuse Academy of Science. Nottingham and East Syracuse Manoa to open its season on Thursday, and they're going to renew the Holy War with Bishop Ludden, who got its own opening win over Bishop Grimes, helped by Nick Bufort's 34 points. Meanwhile, DeRider, the undefeated Class D sectional champions of 2019 and 20, denied a shot at the state title, but returning most of its starting lineup obviously proved that it means it's going to be dominant this year. The Rockets roaring past Cincinnatus by lopsided margins of each of its first 2 games here, and should heavily favored against all opponents, really, that they're going to come across here this winter, Phil.
See, mentioning CBA also, they won that game over Ludden 64-53. They maintained with something like a 15 or 16 game win streak dating back to last season, led by Dan Anderson, their sophomore, who's led them in scoring each of their first games this season. And I also wanted to mention Lowville. We mentioned, of course, that great Class B team from last season. We wondered if they'd get back on the court again. Well, they did last night, and they played Harrisville, who won the 2019 state Class B championship the last time they had a state tournament. Lowville won this game 79-38.
Wow.
They were the McCauley brothers again, just dominating like they have before. And Aiden Zare had 27 points. The McCauley brothers had 31 points between them. And they sat in the third quarter. That's how dominant Lowville was. You could argue that Lowville is probably the strongest team in any class in Central New York. And I would love to have seen them play the large school teams and see how they would have fared. I think they're as strong as anyone I've seen in recent memory.
All right, let's keep rolling here. Some more boys basketball teams. West Hill has proven strong out of the gate, handling Skinny Atlas and Syracuse Academy of Science. Marcellus also has built some early season confidence through handling Homer and gets its own rivalry game with Skinny Atlas this week. Also, look out for Tully, who went out late last week and upended reigning sectional Class C champion Weedsport 70-63 with a big shooting spree from Will Hardy, who's 27 points, including 5 3-pointers. Then let's talk. The Black Knights did not have a letdown, knocking off Faith Heritage 2 days later. Finally, in the Tri-Valley League, basketball teams finally began late this week. You got Whitesboro and Oneida kicking it off, and hopefully others to follow. So that's great news for the Tri-Valley League.
In fact, we talked to some other teams that are kicking off. I think we mentioned Casanova. We talked about Paul a couple of weeks ago. They're going to start playing next week, and they hope to get like 8 or 9 games in the span of a few weeks. But let's go back to Tully a little bit. This was a team that, of course, had recent success, was a recent sectional champion. I think they went to the state Final Four a couple of years ago. But they bounced right back. Not only the win over Weedsport, then Faith Heritage, then being MPH 83-40, then being Cities probably 75-28. They could really run the table, the Black Knights, and be maybe the dominant Class C team in the area this season, given all the talent that they've got back. Players like Will Hardy and Lane Edinger and players like that. So very impressive start by Tully.
All right, let's talk some girls basketball. It's clear among the large school sides, I guess, who's at the forefront. You got CNS and Baldwinsville were dominant against early season foes in Nottingham. Led again by Amaya Williams, knocked off Central Square, reigning section Class A champion CBA. This set up an enticing round robin of games over the next couple of weeks here. Twice in 9 days, the Bulldogs would challenge the North Stars. And in between, Baldwinsville would get its first shot at CNS since it lost to them in last March sectional Class AA final. The Bees having displayed plenty of depth, athleticism, really comfortable here early season wins with these early season wins over Liverpool and Fayetteville-Manlius.
In terms of Nottingham, they challenged CNS in the middle of this week, and it was a 68-60 game. And Amaya Williams, 30 39 points in that game. He almost made this game, made it a tough one for CNS. I mean, the difference is the North Stars around Jessica Cook have a real deep group of perimeter players. Each of them can contribute 10 points at any time. And then CNS went on to defeat Liverpool on Friday in a game where Cook got nearly foul trouble and they actually trailed at halftime, but then dominated the second half. As for Beeville, again, bringing back all that talent from last season, you know they've been waiting for their shot at CNS early next week. It's going to be fascinating to see how these two teams, who might have the same quality as they did a year ago, fare against each other. And they'll play each other twice this season, by the way.
All right, there's also a time for some milestone in girls basketball. Let's talk about some of these here. In Fayetteville-Manlius opener against Henniger, Niagara University-bound senior Lexi Rowe reached 1,000 career points by netting 20 in the first half alone, though the Hornets got sidelined a week later by COVID-19 concerns that pushed back a trio of games. Meanwhile, Bishop Ludden star sophomore forward Amar Strife got to 1,000 points by leading the Gaelic Knights to impressive back-to-back wins over West Hill and Bishop Gridens. Later of them, which I guess with the second half comeback against the Cobras, the team went to the Section Class B finals a season ago. So Ludden's going to challenge CBA here late this week, and we'll see what happens.
Well, we still haven't Ludden defeated CBA, but
that's right.
They were Lexi Rowe and Marstrick were the only players to reach 1,000 points. Sydney Lusher from Oneida did too as well. When Oneida finally got their season underway on Thursday against Whitesboro, Lusher put in 31 points, added 13 rebounds, had 10 steals, and 6 assists, still in the stat sheet, as Oneida trounced Whitesboro 64-34. And by doing so, Lusher passed 1,000 points for her career for a team that was, remember, Oneida was sensational last season. They were the top seed in the sectional Class B playoffs before they were beaten, surprised a little bit, by Bishop Grimes in the quarterfinals. But no doubt, Oneida is one of the areas that teams now are finally getting a chance to play this season, and it's good to see that because Oneida is going to be favored in every game they play, I figure.
The man, Phil Blackwell's top 10. As that went on, the other girls' basketball teams also got off to quick starts. There was Marcellus, a Section Class B semifinalist last fall, handling Homer here in girls' basketball and holding off Bishop Grimes with most of its starters back from the 2019-20 season. Also, we had Weedsport, led by senior Susie Nemec, proving quite impressive in back-to-back victories over Solvay and Jordan Elbridge for Class B schools, pointing that out. Onondaga started with lopsided routes over Pompey and Tully. We should also point out Altmore Parish Williamstown, who by defeating Sandy Creek and Plasky in its first two games has already demonstrated, obviously, the wisdom of carrying forward with its season when so many other large schools did not do so. So hats off to them.
Yeah, and APW, they took a narrow defeat 43-39 to Hannibal on Thursday. But again, Hannibal is, I think, most of the time a Class B school, and the APW is stepping up. I mean, because not all of the Class OCHSL Patriot Division teams, I think, played this fall. Those that are playing should be commended as well. But in terms of Onondaga, this was a team that was a very strong team last season, returning most of their talent from a season ago. And the Tigers, I mean, they beat Jordan Elbridge 59-26 on Friday. The Tigers are off to a 4-0 start. And you know that when an Onondaga faces Weedsport, and they're going to face each other on Monday, I believe. Those two teams, they're going to be two of the better, and they're going to face again on March 1st. So twice in the next couple of weeks, Onondaga and Weedsport are going to face each other, and they're going to be two of the best local games of the season, in my view.
I love it. All right, keep rolling here. Number 7, the top 10. Moving to ice hockey. Got to talk some ice hockey. 3 teams had impressive starts in the opening week of action. Skaneateles roared out 4-0, capped by a 14-0 romp over Liverpool, where 2 players, Garrett Krieger and Charlie Major, both surpassed 100 career points. 2 other traditional powers sprinted out too, whether it was Baldwinsville claiming its first 3 games, capped by holding off reigning 2-time sectional Division I champion Syracuse 3-2 on Monday night, or West Cheney, who waited until this week to start, but promptly won 3 times in as many nights. Easy wins over Oswego and Fulton, bookending a 2-1 overtime victory over CBA JD, where 8th grader Will Schneid scored the game winner.
Yeah, Will Schneid's got his older brother, James Schneid, who's West Genesee's top goal scorer. So he's tested pretty well every day.
Right.
In terms of the Wildcats. But in terms of Skaneateles, they kept it going. They had 4 consecutive shutouts. They played Syracuse Friday night, and it was 1-0 after 1 period. Then it was 6-0 after 2 periods. That's what the Lakers can do. They can just explode, and it can be all kinds of different people. It can be Krieger. It can be Major. It can be Luke Renault. He's healthy. They've had a couple of hat tricks already this season. It seems like, once again, Skinny Atlas is just a dominant team in hockey, no matter what division you're talking about. But they'll play West Genesee later this season. And you know the Wildcats wish they had a chance to dethrone Syracuse after the Cougars won the sectional title each of the last 2 years. But in the meantime, West Genesee has off to that very strong start, and you might see some more hockey teams get into action this year, especially those in the East, because those counties got their sports approval a little later for their high-risk sports, so you might see those teams in action a little bit more in the next couple of weeks.
How about Phil? Full season of boys swimming began to slowly wind down here. The top teams would begin to battle each other. FM and JDCBA were both undefeated. When they met last Saturday, it was the Hornets prevailing 98-86 behind double wins from Lucas Weirs in the 200 freestyle and 100 butterfly, plus a diving win by Connor Gleesman. The FM, or let's talk about FM, would challenge Liverpool Friday night right after the Warriors pulled off its own narrow escape against JDCBA 93-90, where Griffin Merkling broke his own pool record on the 100 backstroke after settling another pool mark in the 200 individual medley during the Warriors' earlier win over CNS.
And look what happened last night. FM beat Liverpool 93-9. Same score. The exact same score in this meet as the JDCBA meet a couple of days earlier. In the case of FM, they got Lucas Weirs again to win a couple of races, the 50 freestyle and the 100 butterfly. They swept the top two spots in diving, led by Connor Gleesman. Then they withstood, the thing they did, and they won the 200 freestyle relay. That helped them withstand the fact that Liverpool won most of the other events, including, of course, Merkling, who broke a 1 minute mark. He could do any race. Merkling could just dominate any race he entered. He broke 1 minute in the 100-yard breaststroke, and that's far from his best event. And he broke a minute in that event. So that then finished second and third in enough events and picked up enough points to withstand all the wins that both Merkling and Jack and Draco were pulling off. And a landmark victory for an FM program who, like their girls program, had slowly built themselves up to be a powerful program without a home pool. Remember, they would have their home meets in normal circumstances at Casanova College. It's an amazing job. Tim Gallivan coaches both of those programs. He's done an incredible job.
Most of the bowling teams that took part in the winter have basically wound down here a bit during the regular seasons. On the girls' side, here in bowling, in the Salt City Athletic Conference Metro Division, no one could touch Baldwinsville, who won all 14 of its matches, gave up just 1 point to Fayetteville-Manlius in a February 2nd match that the Bees still won 2-1. In boys bowling, Baldwinsville nearly had the same kind of success, winning 14 of 16 matches, but a vastly improved FM squad managed to edge them in the league standings by going 11-1 during matches at Green Lakes Bowl. Obviously avenging its only defeat to Beeville when it prevailed 2-1 in the rematch before it swept West Jenny, sister North Syracuse, and Liverpool down the stretch.
Yeah, and again, what a performance by FM's program. Again, another program that was, not in the greatest of shape a couple of years ago, but they've really improved. They don't have the big fancy house like they do at Striking Sparrow Flamingo. Green Lakes is a pretty modest facility. But they've managed to put a team together that put up strong scores, game in, game out. Remember, they were having their matches at their own house while the other team was competing at their own house. And obviously, Baldwinsville took full advantage of being at Beeville Sports Bowl, showing up some of the best scores of the season, especially the last of Tenor Francisco. And I'm glad they got a full season in as well, like with all the sports. You're just glad that they had the opportunity to compete throughout this winter, if there was some doubt about that a few months ago. All
right, let's talk about this. The last thing on Phil's Top 10, and Joe Sidoni might coach Skinny football again. Earlier this week, an Onondaga Court Superior Court judge ruled. Do you know who the judge was, Phil?
The name escapes me immediately.
Try to look it up for me. Ruled that the Skinny House School District did not give Sidoni a proper hearing before they fired him early in January. In the aftermath of a controversial Turkey Bowl alumni game played at Thanksgiving, the court temporarily reinstated Sidoni, though he left it to the school district to determine whether to keep Sidoni only after he got a chance to defend his actions. It remains to be seen whether Skinny House will do anything to the coach of the 2017 Class C champion Lakers, given that practices for the season moved from the fall of 2020 are supposed to begin here March 8th, barely 2 weeks from now. I think that was a wise decision by Joe as well, and a humble decision to say, okay, listen, I defended myself. The court made its ruling. Okay, now you decide if you want me or not.
Well, the thing is, the school district is appealing the decision anyway. They're deciding to keep it in appealing the decision to a higher court. It was Judge Gerard Nary's decision. It was an injunction that he gave. It was a preliminary injunction, but it left the school district to decide what to do. They could have simply had the hearing they didn't have in January, and it probably would have settled things without taking it further in court.
Yep.
But Sindoni was already, Zoom meeting with his players and preparing, saying, guys, prepare. We're going to start practice on March 8th, I believe, and I believe it's March 8th because, of course, Section 3 moves back the start of football a week to move the winter sports season back a couple of weeks. And I've heard some rumors that they might even push the winter sports season even a week or two further, given the fact that they're trying to make games up and give those counties that didn't allow winter sports to happen or immediately, give them more time to have more games in some of these other counties. So let's pay attention to that. But back to the football part, they expect to start practice on March 8th. That's only 2 weeks from Monday. And we'll see. I mean, the biggest obstacle for the football teams might not be what's in the court. It's all that snow that's sitting out there. They got to clear a whole lot of turf fields, my friends, and all the snow that's sitting out there better melt.
Yeah, but Phil, it sounds like they
might not have field to play on.
It sounds like you're basically saying that good luck. You got 2 weeks to get in a hearing, make a judgment on the hearing, and hire a new football coach. So, will they be able to do that, or is it the fact that we heard from Joe, we heard what this judge had stated, which is basically just that you need to have this hearing. What I'm interested about, or what I don't understand, is that there's certain protocol or that you have to follow procedures. So the superintendent, whomever that is, I don't know who the superintendent is in Skaneateles, obviously runs the board meetings and should have said there needs to be a hearing before we do anything. So instead of just this instant firing or whatever it was. So logistically, the superintendent did not run this correctly, or the board, whatever happened. And it could have been done procedurally correct, which then they would have never been in this position. So do they even want Joe? I mean, what have you heard? Have you had any conversations, or
There's no doubt that there's some friction between the Skaneateles superintendent Eric Canute and
who's the superintendent?
The athletic director.
Who's the superintendent?
Eric Canute.
Eric Canute, okay.
And maybe the athletic director and the rest and Sindoni and the board. There's been probably some friction in the past, even before the Turkey Bowl incident. Yeah. But at the same time, this is the sort of thing where maybe you just bite the bullet, let things go through the next couple of months, whatever football season they have, and then deal with it in the months before the next, hopefully, fall season, and clear up everything. One way or another. It would make it easier for everybody.
Yeah, I don't see that making sense. I would see that then you're basically coaching your team again. You're back, working on your offense and defense, and if there's any time, it sounds like this is the time, but it doesn't seem to make sense. And Joe's a great football coach, so who knows what took place? But clearly there is some sort of procedural issue, and the judge pointed that out. So. It's interesting how these things work. But bottom line is you just want the kids to play. You want everybody to get along. You want the community to get along, or the board to feel good about their decision, whoever's going to coach the team. You want the superintendent and AD working together, and you want whoever the football coach is to feel good, and the parents. So I don't know how that's all going to come about, but obviously we don't like to point out the negative, so let's just keep it positive. And hopefully
the kids are going to play no matter what. Yeah. That's the point.
Yeah. And hopefully Joe does coach and everything works out, and this was just kind of a mistake by whomever it was, and we move on, and everybody was healthy, and nobody had any issues or long-term issues or anything from this, and hopefully everyone stayed healthy for the most part.
Yeah.
All right, so what else going on, Phil? I'm going to bounce. We're going to obviously start lining up our guests. You always do a terrific job. I appreciate all the work that you do for the program and for the community. If it wasn't for you, a lot of this would not get covered, so you do an incredible job with you and your team, so we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Phil Blackwell from the Eagle Newspapers, always doing an outstanding job here. We get back, we're going to talk, we got our summercars.com spotlight interview, FM boys basketball coach Luke Tucci and a bunch of his players. We'll be right back. This is the Summit Cars, presented by summercars.com, and it's the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by summitcars.com.
Welcome to the program. So it's good to have you all listening. We've got our SummitCars.com Spotlight interview, FM boys basketball coach Luke Tucci. Luke, what's going on? How are you?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me. I really appreciate this.
Good to have you in the studio. And Phil is home because I don't let Phil come in the studio with the COVID stuff. I don't want Phil spreading his germs everywhere. I'm just kidding, Luke. Phil's the man. He actually puts together an entire show. There's no one like Phil Blackwell. Let's get right to it. So first and foremost, you've got Josh Michael along with you, Jack Nucerino, and Paul Miller all with you as well?
Yep, all three of them here. All three of them are my senior captains.
Very nice. So let's get through it and get going here. If it all goes well, so FM, look at your team here. You're going to be as busy as anybody else during the winter. I think you have 13 or 14 games in a span of about 30 days. And I guess...
Yep, we got 14 games, which it is right now.
Beautiful. And through the three games, you've gone, 2-1 so far? One over Henniger, Beeville, and what did you take on Corcoran this afternoon, right?
Yep, we've had 3 games so far. We've played at Henniger, at Baldwinsville, and then we had a home game against CNS on Wednesday, and then we tip off here at home at 2 o'clock against Corcoran. So
you find out you're having a season. Are you able to scramble and get a bunch of games on the books? Are you happy with the number of games that you have?
Yeah, I think this year it's morely about, the kids and being able to give them as much opportunity as possible. We definitely have a hefty schedule, but I'm lucky enough where I have, 4 returners from the past 2 seasons, the 3 stand next to me, and then another returner, junior, Captain Luke Davidson. And, with them together, we thought, giving them the best opportunity they can to enjoy their senior year and keep this program going forward, that it was just, hey, let's play some games. Let's be able to show that we are still working hard here and being able to continue our success in the program. We're talking FM
basketball. Now that I'm guessing you're settled in, feeling good, things are new a little bit. Tell me a little bit about settling in here, and taking over this position.
Well, it's been a different year. It's obviously been a different year for everybody. We had basically a 10 to 11 month hiatus, where I didn't even see these guys for a very long time, which is not really how we do things over here. We have a hefty off-season program. I expect a lot of these kids, Jack, Josh, Paul, and Luke Davidson, as I just mentioned. This will be their 3rd year on varsity. So they know what was the expectation. So we gave them a lot of things to do in the off season, but I really had about a 10 or 11 month hiatus where I haven't seen them in a long time, and was able to obviously get back on the court with them about 2 weeks ago, and we're still only about 8 to 10 full practices in as a team. So it's been a quite different year. But at the same time, I'm just really happy to be back. I'm really happy these kids have an opportunity to, have some normalcy right now and, just keep going forward.
We're talking with Luke Tucci, coach of the FM Hornets. We've got Josh Michael and Jack Nucerino and Paul Miller. Coach, let's go to Josh here for a second, then I'll also chat with Jack and Paul quick. Josh on the phone. What's up, Josh? Yep. Let's get going here. Coach pointed out in the offseason, giving you guys workouts and trying to keep tabs somewhat, but obviously, span of 11 months, not as much communication as clearly you guys would and should have or want to have due to, obviously, COVID. Talk about staying in shape, talk about the offseason, talk about having a new coach, kind of expand a little bit on all that for me.
Well, the off-season was a lot of, it was kind of on you because, you couldn't get together with everyone. It was more shooting hoops in your driveway, trying to get, to the fields whenever you can, run. And then, we have the same team, same guys that I've been with the whole time, so it's kind of just relying on each other.
Yeah, seeing what happens there. In terms of, new coach and some time with coach, tell me a little bit about his coaching style.
He loves us. You can tell. He takes a lot of stuff personally. We know him really well, and he's hard on us when he has to be, but he should be. We've been with him for a while now, so we're pretty tight.
Tell me about your game. What do you need to prove on? What do you feel good about this season?
I'm definitely more rusty than I have been in normal seasons because we didn't get the off-season work, so I kind of came into this season pretty cold. So I guess my shooting, kind of just the fundamentals.
Yeah, get things going. All right, let's talk to Jack here for a second. Thanks, Josh.
Hey, what's going on?
Jack Nucerino. What's up, Jack?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. So tell me about the rich tradition of FM basketball. How do you guys feel this season?
Oh, we feel pretty good. You know, the last 2 seasons we were just, struggling, trying to get into like a rebuilding here. But this season we knew like this was our season to, be one of the best, if not like the best team in this league. And we knew that, with this core group that we've created for the past 3 years, that we knew that, this was going to be the year to, show the league what we can do.
Interesting you pointed the league because you have to mention the fact that we saw all the departures that other top class AA teams faced. Did you guys see an opportunity to take a leap forward?
Of course we did. The rest of the league, they had really big time players, and we were such a young team at the time, and so now that us playing with each other for the past 3 years and us being seniors, we knew that this could be the time to really show what we got.
Jack, what are you doing for school next year, or what are your plans for next year?
I'm actually going to Cortland
nice.
for lacrosse, and I'm going to major in exercise science.
Perfect. How about your boy Josh? What's he up to for his senior season?
I'm going to Mercyhurst to play lacrosse.
Very cool. All right, let's get Paul on the horn, guys. Let's throw this over to Paul. Paul, you there?
Yep.
What's up, Paul? So let's talk about, I would say there's so many games in a short span, but talk about how critical it was to gain those first 2 victories over Henniger and Baldwinsville.
It's huge. I mean, it gets us a lot of confidence going, and it's a good way to start your season out with 2 huge wins, so that was great.
And as well to you, how do you feel right now? I mean, obviously the guys, a little rusty or whatever here. How do you feel coming into the season?
I feel pretty good. I feel like I'm in pretty good shape so far. Just trying to get to improve every single game of our season, and then we'll see what happens.
That's nice. What are your plans here for college, etc.?
I'm thinking about going to Kentucky, possibly.
Nice.
Do sports marketing, but I'm not really sure yet. So we'll see what happens.
I like it. I like your sports marketing thought there. It's that's a great field. You'll have a blast doing that.
Thank you.
All right, let's get Coach back on the horn. Let's see what he's up to.
Hey, what's going on?
All right, Coach. So when Tom Blackford coached there, he would always employ the 1-3-1 zone. Talk to me. What do you do a little bit differently? How you mixing things up? Do you ever get compared? And how do you feel about any of the comparisons?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's there was a little bit of a method over here that Tom implemented the 1-3-1 zone.
The staple.
Yeah, absolutely. It was basic to the program. Tom's a great coach. I mean, he had a ton of success here. Obviously, comparisons come up, but times are always different. Different players, different systems, things around those lines. We do implement a little bit 1-3-1 here, but I really try to teach these guys the fundamentals of man-to-man. I think that gives them prepared, best for each, offense that we see, each team that we see, and then the intangible things to man-to-man, translate over to, a 2-3 zone or a 1-3-1 as well, too. So, just trying to really pound in the fundamentals with these guys, you know what I mean? And then, just keep improving each day.
Talk about, is there going to be playoffs, no playoffs? The pressure been taken off for no playoffs? What's going on there? I'm not sure.
So there's no sectionals this year. There is no sectionals or state championships for the winter sports. So basically we'll be competing for the league title, throughout the year. As you mentioned before, we have a hefty schedule, and we still have a great league, even though, guys like, J.J. Starling or Willamika have left the league, in the last year. It's just a rebuild every single year for our league. It's every single night's a battle. So, just keeping these guys acclimated, keeping these guys, focused and, really trying to get after that league title.
I talk about each and every night kind of getting out there and playing. It's a battle depending on who you're playing. At this early juncture, I guess, are you looking at teams like West Jenny and Liverpool as the teams at the top of the SCAC, given their starts?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Brian Blackwell does a great job, and Fred Kent does a phenomenal job as well too with their programs. You know, they've set the standard of what it takes to win league championships and state championships. As both of them have won one in the last 2 or 3 years. So we definitely look at that stuff, but we definitely try to just focus in on us every day. There's a lot of background noise that goes along with the pandemic and all those things. And, we just really try to focus on our 16 players, really try to improve each day, really just trying to, come in and work hard every day. And, they did that for the past 2 or 3 years, and I think it's starting to pay some dividends for them.
Clearly you're happy with any season. And, final question here, but what constitutes for you successful season in terms of number of wins?
The win total I'm not even really worried about, to be honest with you. Obviously, you want to win every single one of your games, but just getting these kids to work hard every single day, they know that that's how they will win games. You just can't come in every single day and, what I like to tell them, punch a clock, and, really have to come in and work. I think basketball, you have to pay the most attention to detail of what goes on. All the different plays, all the different scouting teams, things around those lines. So it's just really getting us in the gym every day, really having, focus and determination to, achieve our goals. And I'm very lucky to be able to have my, 3 senior captains who set that tone every single day in practice.
Luke, where were you before this?
So before this, I was at Oswego State. I coached 2 years there with Jason Leone, and then I did a little short stint as a senior in college as well, too, with Brockport State.
Nice. Jason Leone, the great coach there. Eddie Leone is a good buddy of mine, and Brockport State, terrific school. Who was the coach at Brockport State when you were there?
The coach was Greg Dunn. He's still the head coach there. They have both great programs. Jason's a tremendous coach. I wouldn't be anywhere where I am without those guys. And it's crazy that, as the season goes on, you really understand, how much you really learn from them, from just being around successful programs and being around successful people, and, what it really takes to win championships. Because we did win a SUNYAC title when I was at Oswego, and when I was, at Brockport, they had a ton of success. So it's just taking those things, implementing them in my own program, and then, taking it to stride from there.
All right, Luke Tucci, thanks, pal. Thanks for being on the program. Appreciate it. And to all the players, good luck for the rest of the season.
No problem. Thanks for having us. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, great job from FM there, and Scott Sugar, our boy, AD at FM. I'll be right back. ESPN Radio, 97.7, 100.1.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by SummitCars.com.
All right, we've got our Nagel Athletic Services interview. Bishop Ludden girls basketball players Caitlin Kibling, Lauren Petrie, Amara Strife, and Kiara O'Doon all will be on the program here. Going to kind of go back-to-back with everybody, which will be nice. Try to get everybody on as soon as we can. Caitlin, how are you? What's going on?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, it's good to have you on the program. So I guess, no matter what else happens the rest of the season, it's already been satisfying the fact that Bishop Ludden girls basketball team, for a bunch of different reasons. I mean, let's think about this. You have a season. Now you knocked off 3 main rivals in West Hill, Bishop, Grimes, and CBA. Talk about those big wins.
It was really exciting to come out into the season with playing against rivals and getting those wins early and just being able to play against them. It was different, but it was really good to build up our self-confidence and spirit and everything.
You and Lauren both were part of championship teams with Danielle Roush, now at Michigan. Talk about those championship and how it was, the winning attitude, and just how the seasons came together.
It was really fun. I was so young, so it was really nice to see how the older girls and the coaches and everyone, how they got to bring me into it, and Lauren, and just being surrounded by that championship culture. It made me help to build my character and everything. And it was very exciting.
What are you up to next year?
So I'm I'm a junior.
Oh, I thought you were a senior. Okay, so you got one more senior. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
I thought you were a senior here. I was wondering what your college plans were. So when you look at Amara and you look at yourself, you look at Lauren and Kiera, real quick, tell me a little bit about what Amara brings to the table, Lauren and Kiera.
Well, we're all very versatile players. I think it's great that we can do everything. There's not one specific shooter, person who drives on our team. We can do everything, and I think that brings a lot to the table and to the team. Very
nice. Well, Caitlin, obviously great talking with you. I'm going to go to Lauren and still got to go to Amara, so I appreciate you popping on for a minute or so, okay?
Thank you.
All right, have a good one. All right, let's go right to it. So we're going to kind of back to back. And Lauren, what's going on? How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Were you able to hear Caitlin or no?
Yeah, I could hear her.
Oh, beautiful then. All right, well, let's get right to it. You look at, I guess we've heard this week you're going to St. John Fisher. You played with great teammates. Tell me, first of all, choosing St. John Fisher, and then we'll talk about some of your teammates.
Yeah, it was a really difficult decision to make, especially with COVID and not being able to go look at schools. But my AAU coaches and my AAU program was very helpful with that and getting me exposure to other colleges. And then with Fisher, Coach Kuberka has been coming to my games since I was a sophomore, and I was able to attend some of the Fisher games. So I established a good relationship with the coach, and I really thought it was the best fit for me.
So you knew right away. I mean, you pretty much had Fisher chosen your sophomore year, more or less.
Yeah, I really it was always one of my top options. I really liked the school.
Did you have friends that went there or relatives or anything like that made you kind of attracted to Fisher, or just the fact that Coach was interested in you?
Yeah, the coach was interested in me from early on, so I was able to look at it early on. And then a couple of my AAU teammates who are on the older teams, they also attended Fisher, so I know a few girls on the team.
Very nice. All right, look at the season so far. Obviously, outstanding season. Talk about your girls' success.
Yeah, we've been, we only graduated one senior last year, so it was a rebuilding year. And then this year, we all gelled together really great, and we're able to come together and play really well together, so it's been fun.
Well, Lauren, overall, talk about how COVID has been and the fact that finally you get on the floor here.
Yeah, it was challenging with COVID and not being able to be with the team for a long period of time. But Coach sent us workouts over the summer, and I know a lot of us did stuff with our AAU teams too. So we all came prepared and ready to play, and we were in great shape. And Coach pushed us in practices and stuff, and it's great to be back with the team.
You hear mixed things between high school teams, AAU teams, things like that. Do the programs work together? Do the coaches talk? Is it parents helping out? How does it work? Because obviously you got a bunch of exposure from AAU.
Yeah, they definitely talk and communicate. I think that all coaches definitely have the best interests of their players in mind. So just looking at what's best for the players, and they do whatever they can to help us succeed.
Very nice. All right, well, good luck at St. John Fisher. Great to have you on the program. We're going to talk tomorrow now.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Lauren. So Lauren doing a nice job here on the program, which was nice. And let's get Mara on. Mara, how are you? Welcome to the program.
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
It's good to have you on. So you passed 1,000 points last week, right?
Yes, I did.
Well, talk about the excitement of that, and was there a big celebration or what? What did the girls throw you a party or what? What happened?
Yeah, it was definitely a great honor to join the 1,000 Point Club. When I was younger, it was a big goal of mine to reach. So just be able to reach that was amazing on so many levels. But yeah, it was just a great opportunity that I took advantage of, and without my team, I don't think I would have ever accomplished it.
Oh, very nice. And we're talking Bishop Ludden girls basketball team and Amara on the program here. You look at, you say that you want to go to college and be an orthopedic surgeon. I know Phil just pointed that out to me. What inspired you? Family member, or just sports itself? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, of course. So I've really been interested on how the body works and what happens during, say, a basketball game, what maneuvers the body to, say, get me in a jump shot, or what happens when I get a cramp, how can I fix these things? So really just the overall machinery of the body. And then during school, I'm sure every school does this, but the dissections, I was just overly fascinated with for opening an animal just to see what's in it. It's kind of weird, but
no, it's interesting. So where are you, I mean, obviously it's going to be a long program, but where are you going to start out with school? What's your thoughts here?
School-wise, I'd really like to go down south to, like, a medical university and go into, like, the pre-med field.
Nice.
Yeah, just kind of looking forward down the road.
All right. Well, tell me a little bit about the rest of the season. What are you girls up to, and what are you hoping for, and what's the team attitude for the Bishop Ludden Gaelic Knights girls basketball program?
Yeah, with COVID and everything going on, Coach always tells us to play our game that we're about to play like it's the last game possible for the season, Like when we're out on the court, someone takes a jump shot, like that could be our last jump shot for the season. Nobody really knows. So we're always ready to go right off the jump, like Caitlin and Lauren said in the beginning. Coach gave us like conditioning schedules, and we had AAU programs. So we were really like conditioned, and we're a really cohesive group. We've been playing, I think this is our second or third year together now. So we're really, we're basically, I want to say a family. We can go off of each other. We know everybody's strengths and weaknesses on the court, so we're able to patch those and do what we got to do to get a win.
I love it. And we're bumping up here against the break, so we're not going to be able to get Kiara on. Real quick, tell me a little bit about Kiara and what she brings to the table for you guys.
Kiara's a great player. She is phenomenal. Her jump shot is perfect. She's very physical in a way that I think brings great physicality to our game. She is really a great player and really gels well with our as a starting five, because we know what each other's going to do, and she knows how to put the ball on the court and get past the defenders, and she's just a great overall player.
All right, great job. Terrific analysis, and good luck with everything. We're excited to see what you girls will do, and thanks for being on the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Great to have you all on. We'll be right back. ESPN Radio 97.7 and 100.1.